Hi. I've slightly lost my voice, so I apologize about that. It's a new day, right? As strong as the emotions were yesterday, I think it's really good to kind of reflect a little bit on. I just want to share that that's not an abnormal day. Like, I would say that one was pitched a bit lengthier than usual. One of the harder parts about dealing with that loss of control or like that impulse, I would say one of the harder parts would be that life keeps moving, and since that's not something that's abnormal, so that means where maybe in a normal tendency you would take like a lot of break to kind of recover from, just struggling so immensely. That's really not the situation that a lot of people with BPD find themselves in, and nor is it for the loved ones of someone who is on the flip coin of the BPD. So as you can see, I'm a little sweaty. Another element of really going for this little farm situation. I'm actually blowing paths up here in the woods, and we have trying to create a larger bonfire area that eventually we can hold gatherings here, and hopefully things that can help bring together some support for people struggling with different mental illness, whether that's BPD or PTSD, something that this household knows quite a bit about. Not me educationally on all of that, but as a whole, everyone that exists in the house has a lot of personal experience and or education on it. So it's been a passion of mine to always be able to help people feel like there's a place that they belong, a place they can freely be themselves and talk openly. And I think the key to that is being incredibly genuine and authentic with who you are, what you struggle with, what you succeed in. And that is definitely something we hope to be able to bring together here. And so life moves on, and work needs to be done. I'm up and working, not at full pace the way that I would like, which is also frustrating, right? To be working at such a slower rate than I know I'm capable of, just because I'm emotionally very fatigued. But my sweet partner is still down for the count, and can be for many more days, because it's very hard, the flip of the coin. And I think each time that I do lose that ability to regulate my emotions, and I fall in a very big way, and that has that ripple effect to my partner, and just in some families sometimes. I'm old enough, I would say, or experienced enough in my journey that it hasn't heavily impacted outside of my very core safe loved ones. I'm very fortunate. You will find a lot of people who struggle with BPD, and it is just rapid in every aspect of their life, and it can be incredibly destroying. They're self-sabotaging. I still do that. It's just not in the same forms that perhaps I did when I was much younger and less aware of what was going on. So I've always knew something was going on, but I didn't actually get diagnosed until I was in my early 20s. And even at that point, I was in such a bad place when I had reached out for that type of help that I thought I got a different diagnosis than I did, because BPD, borderline personality disorder, sounds so similar to like multiple personality disorder in a world where I came from, you know, a smaller town that didn't really talk about mental illness back then, you know. So I didn't, like, it just like right over my head in that state of mind that I was in, and basically I was getting the help that I needed for the depression, and it really helped some of the fluctuation in my moods. It wasn't until several years after that diagnosis that I was which I didn't remember being like, I just kind of, I'm not multiple personalities. That doesn't make sense, right? No, I'm not. That's why that didn't make sense. But I definitely, a couple years after that, I came across an article on the internet when I was searching for some support and help, self-education on my part, because I was still, of course, having these rapid cycles. They had slowed down a little bit. Like I was in a much better place, but I still was struggling. I came across this article that talked about borderline personality disorder, and it's like, it just like a light just went off in my head, and I said, oh my gosh, like BPD, like this is what I have. I of course wanted to verify that, and I ended up going like and getting my records from many years earlier to confirm that that is what I was diagnosed with. And since then, I've been on a journey to better educate myself on what I have, and which helps in a lot of ways, which is why some of the reason I'm putting these videos out there to serve as hopefully somebody else who struggles with similar cycling, that they feel like seen. And one thing that I have very much learned in the past almost 20 years is that there is power in the secrecy of holding it in. So you're feeding the power that it has if you don't let some of that out. But the trick is to not let it out in that explosive way, which no good comes from. It actually sets you dramatically back. And it causes you to be in like more distress, and you will lose, rightfully and understandably. People need to walk away sometimes. So I think that's one thing that I think I'll also hope that not just people who suffer with BPD, but the loved ones of people who are trying to hang in with somebody who is on this path, depending on where they are on this journey, like you may need to walk away, and that's just reality. If they are unaware, if they are not consciously trying to work on it, if they're not able to rein it in a way that is also going to be healthy for you, I would think most people who have borderline very much, they know they're putting their partners through a lot. And their partners do not deserve that. It's like you get all the wonderful parts, and there are so many wonderful parts of somebody who has like the heart and the sensitivity of someone who has borderline. They have very big hearts, and they can love in a very powerful way, and when they're happy, they are like elated happy, and it is contagious, and it It will pull you in. It is wonderful. Like, it was wonderful to feel it. I think it's wonderful to be along the ride with a loved one like that. It's fantastic. But it's a flip coin for them too. So as wonderful as that ride can feel, it can feel incredibly the opposite, and it can be incredibly damaging. So I don't know, I'm rambling a lot. I will put together a video sometime that's very much more like not sweaty and not teary, and maybe not in overalls in the middle of the woods. But that's just kind of, as I try to do these video journals, I want to give kind of like a clearer picture of what this cycling looks like. So I'm going to continue to try to create them so that you can see this whole circle transpire. And like right now where we're at is I'm still very much emotional, as you can tell. I also feel incredibly obligated to keep moving forward because this I just can't give in to these emotions every time I feel them and stop. It's a matter of finding that balance and knowing like when you have to and when you need to push anyway. And so right now I'm in kind of that in-between day where my morning went much slower. I'm moving much more like in a fog, but I am very much understanding I have to keep getting some stuff done. And on the cycle for my partner, like she is now on her own like emotional journey that's triggered by me. So she's down for the count. She's coping with it her way. And I just give kind of the space and love and support where I can while she navigates whether this is something that is healthy for her to continue on, right? And I think with most people, it has nothing to do with love. You see partners walk away from somebody with BPD, and like, it's not a lack of love. It's a I gotta get off the ride. It can hinder them and their progress, and that's when it's definitely not healthy to stay, and you need to go. And if your partner is in the slightest awareness, as hard as that would be to accept, and they would spiral from it, of course, and they're gonna feel that very strongly if you walk away. And depending on where they're at in their awareness, like, they may do things to try to keep you. And I think, where I'm at is, I understand the type of pain that can be caused. So I can see that full circle, and I don't want my partner to do that. I'm grateful that my partner is still hanging in. I am on the fence myself whether that's a good idea or not, if I'm being honest. So this is what day 2 looks like after a very large multi-hour outburst. So, and by outburst, it will commonly be noted as like a rage, and in much ways that is absolutely what it is for a lot of people. That rage can look different, but I think the word rage is pretty accurate for the intensity of how very different a person can come across in that step of their cycle. So, day 2, I am grateful for the opportunity that my daughter's having, like, one of my daughters, I have 3, that my daughter's having some very fun cousin time right now, and that has given me an opportunity to kind of come down off of this one a little bit easier. Oftentimes you have to suck in kind of how I feel right now and put on a very, like, different face because you're in, like, motherhood, and this is not how motherhood can be looking on a regular basis. That's not healthy. So later, though, in a few hours, I will be reining this even more back, and in some aspects I'm stifling it down very much to do what is needed and necessary. But yeah, day 2, it looks like this, paired with work at a very snail pace. Thanks for joining in on day 2 of Beneath the Borderline.